Guess what time it is? It's time for another dramatic reading from my middle school journal. Okay, get right into this. September 3rd, 1992. Okay, we're in the Wayback Machine. Today went pretty good. I got dressed, ate, and was off to school. At school, not much happened except one thing. We watched the movie Romeo and Juliet. This particular movie had at least one scene. By the way, the theme of this journal entry is PG-13. Okay, so be warned. If you can't handle PG-13, it's time to tune out now. Just hit pause if you're my children watching or something else. Because September 3rd, 1992, theme is definitely boobs. Okay, so while watching Romeo and Juliet, if you're familiar with this 1960s version, there's a particular scene that, and I forget who the teacher was. The teacher meant to fast forward, but their timing was imperfect, meaning they didn't quite fast forward the part that they needed to, thus revealing boobs, except I didn't use the word boobs, to the entire class. Okay, this happened September 3rd, 1992. No one was fired for this. No one was fired. Several people were educated that day. It goes on to read. Really, that's the only note on that event. So, then, after school, this is when the real romance begins. September 1992. Then went down to Kathy's house. Okay, Kathy, shout out, Kathy's on Facebook, who I was apparently just in love with, I believe. Went down to Kathy's house, and this makes no sense to me, to collect a handkerchief that I would wear in the football game. And I don't remember ever having this conversation. I don't even know that the girl knew I liked her. I don't know where this is coming from, but it's hilarious. The other irony is there's probably like 5 guys that have a crush on her, and the quality that she really has that all of us really like is she's the only girl that lives in the neighborhood. So we're just totally smitten. Like there's no other choice at all. Not taking anything away from Kathy, a wonderful person. So, so the next day went to school and and of course we're off boobs now. We're back to girl crazy. Carrie Gerganis, I think Emily Brazel were in the office, and I had to do a double take because they were looking so cute that day. After school, I drove Jamal to Rhines to eat with the football team. And then the defense played great. There were no points scored against us, really bragging on ourselves. The offense, on the other hand, did terrible, and they had 2 touchdowns scored against them on interceptions. We lost to Venor 14-6, tragically. Now, shout out Venor, congratulations on your big win in 1992. Actually, I don't think they have a football team anymore. I remember, this is good, shout outs too. I was really happy. I got to play with Spencer and Jared Pelham, aka Snugs. And we went to Pizza Hut afterwards, and it lists several people. Chad McNatt was there, Jameson, my sister, and some other girls from the band, right? They didn't even make the cut name-wise. Some girls from the band. I don't know who they were. And then this was the greatest aspect of my childhood. After the football game, we go out for pizza, hang out with everybody, and then of course I go back to the house. And how does this story end? Then at midnight, I went up to Tim's barn and we played some Dungeons and Dragons with Craig, Bill, and Gary Payne. That's how I ended the night. And what's fun? And then I went home and went to bed at 8 in the morning. Oh my goodness. Now September 5th, I'm adding on here, this is a bonus. September 5th is one of the lengthiest posts, and let me just give you the highlights, okay? The highlights are, I went tubing on the Hiwassee, and about 90% of this, apparently somebody ran into a bee's nest, a hornet's nest, and was stung nearly to death, and I found it hilarious. They lost their glasses and were miserable the rest of the day. The end. That was basically that entire day. And let me tell you, it ends with a quote from the movie I was watching, and here's what I wrote about it. This is without a doubt in my top 5 movies of all time in 1992, which is high praise. I thought I was a movie guy. The movie, Christian Slater's Pump Up the Volume. And I go on about how great this movie is, maybe one of the greatest movies of all time. And I recall back, wasn't that great a movie, but what did the movie have? PG-13. A couple of PG-13s in them. That was pretty much what bumped it up to number 5, if you know what I mean. So the theme continues. The love interest is getting deeper. I'm anxious to see where this goes next. Anyways, tune in next time later.